So friends, Donald Trump may have been looking for 11,780 votes in Georgia, but Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is only going to be looking for 12 votes. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, it's about to happen in Georgia. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis just uttered four words that make her intentions crystal clear. We're ready to go. Here's the new reporting, this from CNN. Fulton County DA says work is done in Trump probe and we're ready to go. And that article begins, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis reaffirmed in a local news interview that she will announce her charging decisions by September 1 in her investigation into efforts by Donald Trump and his allies to overturn Georgia's 2020 presidential election result, while applauding the ramped-up security measures around the local courthouse. Quote, "The work is accomplished," Willis told CNN affiliate WXIA at a back-to-school event over the weekend. Quote, "We've been working for 2.5 years. We're ready to go." And friends, before I move on to the third and final data point, which is a really sweet one, it involves Judge McBurney down in Fulton County clearing the legal decks, paving the way for a Donald Trump indictment because he just rejected Donald Trump's efforts to put a stop to Fani Willis's indictment of him, of his co-conspirators. And frankly, Judge McBurney throws some really fun rhetorical flourishes in his new ruling. But before I turn to that third data point, let me take up the topic of these ramped up security efforts, the barricades being put around Fulton County Courthouse to protect everyone, right? Protect the prosecutors, the defense attorneys, the judges, the witnesses, the grand jurors, and the defendants. You know, Donald Trump is infamous for whipping people up, for inciting riots, right? For encouraging them to engage in violence. We saw it on January 6th, where he set the date for the Capitol attack. He called the mob to D.C. on January 6th will be wild. He then told them expressly, you have to fight like hell or you won't have a country anymore. He directed them to march on the Capitol and stop the certification of Joe Biden's win. He told them go down there and stop the steal. So, we already know what Donald Trump is capable of. But I actually think we can take heart. Here's why. When Donald Trump was first criminally indicted up in New York, remember how he tried to replicate January 6th? Hey, come to New York for my arraignment. We'll be wild. He didn't put it in precisely those terms, but he sent the same message to his supporters. And what happened on the day he was arraigned in New York? Very few people showed up. Frankly, there were as many people who opposed Trump who showed up in New York City on the date of his arraignment as there were Trump supporters. And the good news is there was no violence. So Donald Trump gave it another try when he was indicted down in Florida, his first federal criminal indictment. He said, hey, come on down to Florida for my arraignment. We'll be wild. And even down in Florida, in what some people would call Trump country, no one showed up. In fact, fewer people showed up for his arraignment in Florida than showed up for his first criminal arraignment up in New York. So that's a promising trend. So how will Donald Trump's arraignment in Georgia, in Fulton County, in Atlanta, play out? Well, first of all, I'm glad that they are fortifying the Fulton County courthouse, putting up barricades. Better that they be prepared just in case. But I have a feeling no one's going to come. Donald Trump is going to try to assemble a riot, and no one's going to show up. So it's a good thing that they are fortifying the courthouse. It's a good thing that they are preparing just in case Donald Trump again tries to incite his supporters to violence. But I'm feeling more confident that the allure of Donald Trump, when he tells people to come fight for me, is waning. Now let's turn to the third data point. That is the very recent ruling by Fulton County Judge McBurney rejecting Donald Trump's attempts to stop the Georgia authorities from prosecuting him. You may recall that recently Donald Trump filed a motion with the Georgia State Supreme Court saying, you have to put a stop to this, these people who are trying to prosecute me, trying to indict me. You have to disqualify District Attorney Fani Willis and her entire office. Tell them they can't prosecute me. These were absurd requests, baseless requests, lawless requests. And you may recall the Georgia Supreme Court just summarily denied it, threw Donald Trump's motion out. But the same motion was still pending before the trial court judge, Judge McBurney, who has supervisory authority, loosely speaking, over the grand jury in Fulton County, Georgia. Well, Judge McBurney just issued his opinion. And not surprisingly, he denied all three Trump demands. One, Donald Trump said, I want you to quash, in other words, throw out, rip up the special grand jury report that recommends, inferentially, we haven't seen it yet, but we're pretty sure it recommends that Trump and a bunch of other people should be indicted. I want you to throw it out, rip it up. Two, I want you to prohibit Fani Willis and any other prosecutor from ever using any of the evidence that was developed before the grand jury against me in any case, civil or criminal. And then third, Donald Trump demanded, I want you to disqualify District Attorney Fani Willis and her office from prosecuting me. Well, not surprisingly, Judge McBurney denied, rejected, probably laughed at all three of these lawless demands by Donald Trump. But I want to read for you one particular passage, which is a really nice rhetorical flourish, and I'm glad Judge McBurney said it, even though I was a little surprised when I read it. Here's what Judge McBurney said about the statements that have been made by District Attorney Fani Willis and her prosecutors, and the statements that have been made by Donald Trump in the run-up to what ultimately will be his criminal indictment in Georgia. Judge McBurney said, the drumbeat from the district attorney, in other words, the statements, the public statements that have been made by District Attorney Fani Willis, the drumbeat from the district attorney has been neither partisan in the political sense nor personal, in marked and refreshing contrast to the stream of personal invective flowing from one of the movements, one of the moving parties. In other words, Donald Trump. Yes, Judge McBurney called out Donald Trump for his stream of personal invective. Judge McBurney then goes on to say the following. Put differently, the district attorney's office has been doing a fairly routine and legally unobjectionable job of public relations in a case that is anything but routine. None of what movement Donald Trump cites rises to the level of justifying disqualification of the district attorney. The prosecutor is not a neutral party, and does not need to pretend to be. She has a cause she has sworn to pursue, and in that pursuit of justice, she is necessarily a partisan in the case. If she were compelled to proceed with the same circumspection as the judge and jury, there would be an end to the conviction of criminals. Judge McBurney could have ended his ruling with, "Because justice matters." But I think I just ended it that way for him. It's happening, friends. It's coming. Accountability is coming. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.